So I just got the Galaxy Z Flip a few months ago, and when I first got it, everyone that saw it was amazed. Even my own dad saw this the first moment, said, "Wow, there's flip phones again," and bought it that same day. I even had a classroom of people open and close the phone just to see that yes, it folds, and yes, that's the screen. I mean, online now, it's a little common. Every tech YouTuber or person with a lot of money in general tends to have a folding phone if they don't have an iPhone. And yeah, of course, it's common online. Doesn't mean it's uncommon in person. Because every time I've met someone with this pulled out, and I go here and I flipped it out, just about everyone has gone and at least asked, "What's that? Your phone does that?" It's kind of the fun, innovative designs that I haven't really seen or had passion about since the iPhone 6 or the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, that is, when they first had a curved screen. Folding phone screens are hard to make and therefore they're expensive, and just like a few years ago the iPhone X was eye-watering $1,000, I wish this was only $1,000, because this is the cheap one. This is the cheap folding phone, is $1,400. And the Fold, which is a little bit newer, came out just a few weeks ago, is $2,000. I personally prefer the Flip mainly because it's a little bit cheaper for one, and second off, it fits in small pockets. It fits in shorts. If you're working out and you're using shorts, having a phone in your pocket tends to fall out. And hey, if you're just sitting in your car and your phone's in your pocket, once in a while it does come out, of course. The Flip, very rarely that's the case. It just fits wherever I put it, and I don't have to think about it. Besides that, it's quite a normal phone. I mean, yeah, it's unique. The outside of the display is tiny. It's only 1.1 inches big, but it is useful. It does show notifications, and it does show your music playing as well. But again, make no mistake, for notifications and responding and all that, a smartwatch is much better suited, because on the external display, it only does this scrolling text where you can slowly see the text instead of just seeing the whole thing there, being that it's so tiny. I mean, there's benefits of just having that screen there in the first place. If you're used to the camera on the phone, you can actually set it to show whoever it's pointed at, like a flippy screen on a real camera. And that's actually quite useful for selfies or just group photos, or just having the person that you're taking a shot of just know what it looks like. Another bonus though, with it just folded out being like a traditional phone, is that it feels much like a traditional phone. Okay, it is tall, it is narrow, it is big. This is a big phone, a massive phone, but it is in a tiny form factor, so it's palatable for people like me who stick to small phones, and I upgraded from a Pixel 3a, so the size difference is a massive to me. The screen itself is gorgeous. I mean, it's AMOLED, it's beautiful colors, it's bright, has a whole bunch of display, which despite having a just camera right there in the middle of the screen, isn't that distracting as I thought. It's actually quite normal and quite comfortable. Speaking of comfort, the only bad thing about having a big phone is that my pinky, when you're holding it, tends to get a lot of weight. This phone feels good in the nude. The matte finish on the outside glass is great, and I love it, but it is slippery. The previous non-5G version of the Flip was way more slippery. And yeah, I do feel for those people, because that must have kind of sucked to have it slide around your desk, but this is a lot more easier with that. Ergonomics are fine. It's a metal body, of course. It's very thin, and the buttons are good, and they're ticky. As a fingerprint sensor on the side, it's small, but it's really fast, and honestly, I love having a fingerprint sensor because face unlock is just always a bit slow for me, and I never like swiping up after you've had your face confirmed that it is you. There are some downsides to this design. The battery, for example, is split in two to make a total of 3,300 milliamp hours, which is relatively tiny for an Android phone, especially with a phone this big. Speaker-wise though, it's not that great. It sounds like a phone from 2016, 2017 when it comes to the speaker. Just a bottom-firing one on the bottom. And the earpiece speaker, while there and works for phone calls, is not used to help your audio for watching YouTube and stuff like that. When watching YouTube or Netflix or whatever you watch on your phone, it's actually really nice. One thing you can do about it that's really underrated is to not fold it all the way open. I mean, everyone that sees a folding phone just thinks, oh, open or close. No, not for this. My favorite orientation is 90 degrees. With a 90 degrees, you can have it on a table, sitting there with your laptop doing something else, and be watching a podcast or whatever you do. I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, and I can just kind of see the faces right there on that sliver standing up like a little laptop. I adore that. Also, with not opening up all the way, if you have it around 160, 180 degrees, 160, 150 degrees open, you can actually just watch content like this and have it be its own phone stand. I know it's a little hard to demonstrate right here. Really importantly though, everything plays second fiddle to it being a folding phone. Yeah, it's a folding phone, but it is still a Samsung flagship. There is literally everything here. There is wireless charging. There is power share, which is reverse wireless charging to other people's devices. So it can charge up your friend's iPhone or your Samsung watch or something like that. There is also a second camera. It's a wide-angle camera, and while it's just fine and the main camera is just fine, it's still Samsung flagship quality, which throws its punches well with Pixel and iPhone. Now, that's not the main purpose. I would be a little scared to put this on a tripod, and especially a stabilizer. I'm not comfortable with that, but this takes really good photos and really good videos, and I'll show you a few examples right now. But most off with the camera is, again, with that form factor, some things it could just do better than other Samsungs. For example, the selfie camera. Again, having it be in its own stand, its own little tripod, is great. Have it open with the selfie camera 9 degrees, and then you have your own tripod built in. Great for selfies. Great for little things like that. Something you might not think of. Okay. Another less relevant thing this thing has is a top-of-the-line Snapdragon chip. The Snapdragon 865. 8 gigabytes RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. Has everything you could want. But honestly, having top-of-the-line specs in a phone right now is becoming less and less relevant. This phone's main competitor, the Moto Razr 2, has a Snapdragon 700 series chip, which admittedly is worse. The Snapdragon 700 series is a worse chip. Does play really well, and the Pixel line doesn't use the top-of-the-line Snapdragon chips either, but they do really well. What really matters is the software, and Samsung has gone a long way. Now, recently, in the last year, Samsung's decided to take a page from Apple's book, which I love this. They are promising at least 2 years of Android updates. Now, this may seem small, but a lot of people keep their phones for quite a long time. And a lot of Samsung's negative reputation is from people having a 4 or 5 year old Samsung device that hasn't received any Android major updates versus someone's iPhone 6S who's still getting updates here again and again and again. Samsung promising updates for this device makes this a lot more relevant and a lot more usable for a longer period of time. And I honestly think that's one of the most underrated things about the newest Samsungs that doesn't get praised enough. One thing though I can't not bring up is taking phone calls. Now, nothing is more satisfying than a phone call on a flip phone. Something about it, I don't know what it is, this is my first flip phone, but closing it like this, hanging up a phone call is great. I love it. You can flip it open, speak to someone, oh, you're upset? Okay, cool. Oh, it's great. Love it. Love that this can just flip open. It's like a switchblade. It's great. You can flip it closed, upset or not. It's awesome. I have YouTube Premium, for example, and I can just close it down, make it a small little form factor, put it in my pocket, and continue listening to whatever I want, which is great. Now also, there is some things to be wary of. Now, one, durability. I treat this thing hard. I switch it up, I shut it hard, I drop it all the time. And honestly, I'm just very clumsy, and that happens to me. I'm not really worried about it when it's closed, and in fact, I've never really had too many problems when it is closed, besides it being glass, and glass is glass, and glass breaks. But the screen itself is durable enough. You're not going to destroy it by just pressing your finger against it hard. And honestly, I feel more secure about it being a tiny phone, like a hard turtle shell when closed up. Unlike a normal phone, whose screen is always exposed in your pocket against whatever fabric, and is always exposed no matter where you have it, unless you have a screen protector on it. This phone naturally comes with its own screen protector, and literally it actually does, and its own body works as one as well. This thing is well protected, and it is well durable for a phone, and I do trust it for a while. The main thing I'm worried about though is the hinge. The hinge feels great and very heavy when you first get it, and putting a case on it and flipping open like I do constantly does make it a little bit more loose. But with insurance from my phone carrier, or just the natural coverage that comes with Samsung's Care, I think it's good for at least 2 years. But being a 4 to 5-year-old phone, I wouldn't really trust this. Not that I don't care about it, not that I think it's a great phone. I love this phone, I adore it. It's my favorite phone. I haven't had a phone this fun since the next bit, Robin. But again, there is some issues, and the price is horrid. $1,400 is a lot of money, and they have great trade-in programs. I got a great deal on it, but still, that's a very expensive price to pay. And yeah, it's a 5G phone, so it has everything. It's new, so that's the $1,000 category for a phone, so it makes sense. It's not that terrible. The Fold is $2,000. That's just out of the question, but this, with some proper deals, can go into a price that's low 1,000, under 1,000 maybe, and that's when I think this phone is a great deal. And yeah, you can get another iPhone or a Samsung phone or OnePlus or whatever you want. It's a normal phone, and I prefer phones that are a little smaller because they're more comfortable, but most of all, this is just a fun phone. This is just one of the phones that you see throughout the history of tech, and remember when that happened? Remember they had flip keyboards, or remember when the first iPhone came out, or they switched to this design to that? It's one of those phones, and even if it fails, even if they go, folding phones, bad idea, I love it, and it's fun, and I adore it. So, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you like the videos. I have a lot more to come, and I'll see you next time.